Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Performance e-streaming here at 1801 West International Speed Boulevard, Daytona Beach, Florida, for Daytona, the Thunder Edition. We are here tonight live. It's me, Carl Wilkinson, with Mr. Matt Hunter. How you going, Matt?
I'm going not too bad, thank you, Carl. It's nice to be here, and yeah, good turnout once again. Apparently, the server filled up in 50 seconds, so another big turnout.
Absolutely. It is first come, first serve for these races, and Daytona Speed Week makes it busy indeed. We're about to head into qualifying for the first time this year for the Thunder Series. Exciting stuff. A slightly different format this year for the championship. We have got the short track, the Super Speedway, and a road course championship running. So tonight we'll fill in for that Super Speedway section. So it gives the drivers a little bit more to race for, of course.
Yeah, there's lots of things to go for the Super Speedway title or the short track or the road course. So if you can't commit to a full season, you can pop in and do those little races and be part of a little mini series.
Absolutely, it's always nice to have that little option, and of course, it is a full year of the Thunder that's going to come through. So we're excited about that one. Cars will be leaving pit lane very, very shortly to get out on track. We've got a few out there. Track temperature at the moment is 20 degrees Celsius. It's a cooler night tonight with 18 degrees Celsius air temperature. Of course, 0% humidity out in Daytona. So looking good, and a very, very low wind speed as well, which is always nice. You don't want to have those big crosswinds affecting you here at the super speedways. We are on board with the 270 right now for the qualifying lap.
Be Jai Schultz.
Lovely. Thank you, Matt.
I've got to remember to put the information up there because this is so early in the season we don't recognise the paint schemes, so we actually have a little bit of trouble putting a paint scheme to a driver name.
Absolutely. At the start of the year is always a headache for us as we try and learn everybody's paint schemes. So coming into qualifying here, you want to keep a low line for that fast run. Try and hug that yellow line as much as possible. You might see a few drivers wandering up the track a little bit just to slow the time down, just to try and qualify towards the back of the pack, or a little bit more towards the back. Some drivers don't want to start towards the front, but the majority will be wanting to get that prestigious pole position. Getting the first pole of the season is always nice. Jai is coming around for his second lap at the moment. First one, stepping down into 14th position. This one is looking a little bit better. He's holding that line nicely, setting a very quick lap on the second one. Of course, this is where you can get that speed up. You want to try and get as much of the track as possible. And this lap will jump Jai up into second place. Nice run there for Jai Schultz.
Yeah, nice, very good job there. Keep the speed up and have a very good run. There is a secret to getting fast qualifying laps at Daytona. I don't know what it is. I've tried many a time, but I don't know what it is. But some of these guys know the tricks to do it.
Absolutely. Whenever I come into qualify for a super speedway, I think, yeah, I've got this. I'm actually feeling really confident. And then I'll look at the times and I'm sitting down in about 20th position. I just go, how are they so fast?
Yeah.
Fastest man at the moment is Scotty Griffiths, though, setting a 50.221. A good, well, very, very 0.1 of a second faster than Darren McKenzie in second, 0.2 of a second faster than Jai Schultz and Paul Drady. Those two very close to each other on the times tonight. It is absolutely close stuff. We've got Jason Martin on track, the Mitch Motorsport 21. He is going to be looking at getting a decent lap in. Watch out for the Mitch Motorsports, as they're probably going to sit a little bit further back in the pack tonight. They tended to do that in the trucks we had on Monday night, and they could be looking to do a similar strategy here tonight. Returning as well, the 920, Chris Purnell is back in motorsport, virtual motorsport, back in sim racing, and he's back on the ovals as well. It's nice to have Chris Purnell out there tonight. We look forward to seeing his race going along as well. And, well, a big shout out to Mr. Stevie Dub, the 98. He's currently not out on track, but he's had his 400th race on Monday night in the truck series for ANZCAR, and absolutely capped it off perfectly with a victory. Josh Micklemore jumping up into fourth.
Boy, look at that! How close those times are. I think Jason Martin might have actually bailed on his laps there. I'm not sure, but he's half a second off, and I think he's like in about 30th or something like that.
Yeah, he did not look like he was fully committed in that one and decided, yeah, okay, I've got a starting position. I will just take that while it lasts. Qualifying is over. Also, big shout out to, of course, to our Kiwi members and all the Kiwi viewers tonight after suffering a terrible Cyclone Gabrielle. We hope everybody is safe and doing well over in New Zealand. So let's start off with the front row. Scotty Griffiths taking pole position, Darren McKenzie on the outside. Row 2, Josh Micklemore and Jai Schultz. On the third row is Paul Drady with Dave Douglas. Row number 4, Neil Pearson with Wade Sheedy. Row number 5 is Purnell and Carol Walden. Row 6 is Bissett and Nan Curvis. Row 7, Paul Jackson with Mark Turner. The 8th row, it's that man Stevie Dunn with Mark Smith. Row 9, we have Ruben Phelps with Brett Campbell. 10th row is Sean Doakey with Brenton Henderson. 11th row is Luke Kenny with Kobe Jordan. 12th row we got Norman Clark with Ryan Jones. 13th row is Luke Crum with Barry Neal. 14th row we have Luke Trahere and Glenn McLeod. On the 15th row is Christopher Tomlin and Brad Fenley. Row 16 sees Jason Martin with Gary Wellman. 17th row is Mark Johansson with Aidan Schultz. And we jump to our non-qualifiers, which is Raymond Yeager, Matty Raymond, Russell Bracker, Lachlan Urquio, Mirko Dornak, and Maxi Marshall. So that back row with Mark Johansson and Aidan Schultz, that's the commentary team from Monday Night Trucks lining up next to each other.
Yeah, it should be pretty good. They should be able to hopefully work together and just keep the draft. Been running down the back. It's a huge field. It really brings it home how big the field is when you have to run through the grid like that, and we're trying to race through and get it done before everybody's all gridded in.
It does indeed, and it takes the breath away when you're doing it as well. It's a lot of names to rattle through. At start of the season as well, when you're not used to all those names, it makes it even more fun.
It does, yeah. Trying to get the pronunciation right.
I guarantee I did not do that correct anyway. So we are looking at 66 laps tonight. It should be an interesting one. Daytona Super Speedway, of course. It always is a bit of a lottery.
Sorry, I was just grabbing a quick drink before the action starts, but looks like a couple of cars sitting there in the background. They're going to start from pit lane, so electing not to roll around.
Just going to go back to see who they were. So that's Jai Schultz and Wade Sheedy. So Jai Schultz deciding he wants to start at the back of the pack rather than at the front. He got P4 in qualifying, so he is wanting to take it down the back instead of right up the front, which is not always a bad strategy. We have seen in the past sometimes the chaos of the start line, and it's so easy to make a mistake in the early stages. So sometimes having that chance to sit a little bit further back can be a good one. Kobe Jordan, Luke Crum, and Christopher Tomlin looking like they're also starting from pit lane. So a few people deciding to sit in there and wait for the first lap, and hopefully if it goes well for them, then they'll avoid a big accident. If it doesn't, well, they'll have to wait till pit stops to start making their way up the field.
Yeah, because they'll be almost a half lap down by the time they come out and get up to speed. It's quite a dangerous strategy.
It is indeed. But these cars are coming round, ready to start off the race. Pace car will be pulling in very shortly. I will shut up and let you enjoy these beautiful V8s gurgling to life as they go around Daytona for the first time tonight for the 2023 ANZCAR Thunder Series. Oh, and we've got a wreck instantly in the mid-pack. It has all gone wrong as one of the cars has got around. I'm just trying to look. It was Mark Smith.
Wow.
Mark Smith has lost his engine off the start line and a huge wreck before we get to turn one.
Wow. Let's go back and see if we can find out what's happened here.
So if we jump looking at Mark Smith, the 007, we'll see the car just coming up to the line.
So
and the engine will go boom just as he's about to cross the start-finish line. There we go. The engine blows on him. You can see that puff of smoke, and nothing you can do as a driver in that situation.
No, has he missed a shift? Has he gone down a gear instead of going up? That's very unusual to just blow an engine like that.
Yeah,
That has caused absolute chaos through the field.
Yeah,
Wow.
it sounds like he's missed a gear, just jumped on the inboard, on the onboard, and it looks like he has missed a gear, possibly using an H pattern there, and has just shifted it into the wrong one.
Because you can see him launch and then the car will immediately sag down in the front like it has shifted down.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And so I jumped on board, and you could hear the unmistakable sound of a missed shift there. It sounded like he shifted it into a lower gear, and that's just blown the engine up there. Unfortunate mistake there. Mark Smith used to running these cars, so it's one of those little errors that can happen to the best of us, and you feel so daft when it does happen.
Oh, look at all the cars collected in there. They're all going to have front nose damage, which is the worst thing that you want at a super speedway track. And in the back here, I think Matty Ray and Lachlan have got away. Not too much damage, but yeah, that's a massive crash to have so early in the race.
It is. We've lost a lot of cars from that one. Big victims in that. Norman Clark, he has a lot of damage. Brett Campbell, unfortunately, a lot of damage on the 015 Golden Octopus Foundation car. Sadly, that one is going to have a long night now. But with so many cars damaged, gives you a chance to, well, possibly get a fairly good result still. You could be looking at, even a top 15 with so many cars out early. Obviously, Mark Smith is out of this race. A lot of cars having to come through pit lane to get some repairs done, and huge amounts of front end damage.
Yeah, is that car crabbing? That 015? Do you think that's crabbing? It looked a little bit off on the
Yeah, it
corner
does
there.
not look like it's turning the right way fully. There's a lot of damage on the front of Brett Campbell's car.
Oh,
And,
yeah, we
it's
just
going
had
to
a
be a
look.
long old night.
Yeah, I'm trying to give us a better view and start having a look at some cars and see what damage they have. So I think Wade Hughes are right. Ryan Jones has lost the nose of his front of his car, so he's in for a very long night. He's not gonna. He'll try and get that repaired in pit stops, but it'll be pretty hard. Brad Finlay's got damage. Jason Martin's got damage. Campbell. Aiden Schultz looks like he might have got away with no damage out of that one. Eddie Ray.
Few cars that sort of maybe got a few little love taps. They've been through pit lane to get the old tape put on the car. The 100 mile per hour tape slapped all over the car, of course. Right now.
Is there a whole bunch of cars racing around the pit, the pace car?
Well, they're trying to catch up to the pace car because it was such an early caution. It's thrown everybody into chaos because of all that was happening. So they're trying to catch up to the pace car, and well, it's taken them a while to get there. I think they've still got a fair amount of time before they hit it. Pace car's just coming out of turn 2 at the moment, and they're about to go into turn 1. So they have a lot of distance to cover, and they're going to have to check up. Just make sure they don't slam into the back of all those cars, because yeah, it's going to be a very quick closing speed.
Yeah, they need to coordinate this and call out. This is very dangerous. Once they get up to that pace car, they're going to all come crash into a halt.
That's it. The drivers will be on the radio, letting each other know where that pace car is, because slowing down in these things is not easy. Scott Griffiths just catching the pace step pack now.
Perfect. I didn't see. I was too busy clicking on stuff. But did they all end up going a lap down to the pace car, and they all had to take a wave around, or?
Maybe. I didn't actually see myself, but yeah, there's some sort of iRacing shenanigan going on just with the pace car. I think just because it was such an early one, most of the field had not crossed the line yet as well when that caution came out. So it has thrown things up a little bit. So cars that have come down pit lane to repair damage or just chuck a little bit of fuel in them. Majority, though, I reckon would be damaged. So we've got Kobe Jordan, Luke Crum, Lachlan Urquhart, Gary Wellman, Christopher Tomlin, Luke Trahere, Ruben Phelps, Luke Kenny, Brad Fenley, Russell Bracker, Norman Clark, Aidan Schultz, Maxie Marshall, Brenton Henderson, Barry Neal, Mark Johansson, Brett Campbell, Glenn McLeod, Mark Smith, and Raymond Yeager.
Alright, well, I think we're coming around. We'll be going green again this lap. Let's try and get a lap completed before there's caution.
Yeah, we will hopefully get back to this one with some good racing. I was about to say the Coca-Cola series, had a rough night when
Yeah.
they didn't make it to turn one before the caution came out, and we saw a repeat of that, unfortunately, tonight.
That's all right. This is a feeder series, This is
Look, these mistakes happen, but it's one of those things that can easily happen. It's painful when it does, but you learn from it, of course. Hopefully, next time things will be a little bit neater, and look, this is the perils of racing, of course. You are all on the edge, you are very much getting ready to go, and a simple mistake can cost you a huge amount, and cost other people as well. So, we're about to go green here. It's lap 5 of the Daytona round of the ANZCAR Thunder Series. Luke Griffiths, Josh Micklemore going to be starting off. Green flag goes. I will be quiet so we can enjoy these cars going round a lap, hopefully. We get the first lap underway for the green first lap here. The Toyotas, the Fords and the Chevys all around here at Daytona. 2 packs forming up, of course. This is pack racing. You're going to be using that draft. Car just having a little bit of connectivity issue just a little bit further back, and that can really throw you off in these races.
Looks like I think it's 62 Pearson's just having a little bit of connection issues there, just dropping in and out a little bit. Seems pretty stable now though.
Yeah, once it all stabilises, it becomes a little bit easier. And another thing to throw us out this season, a few drivers have changed their numbers, of course, and that makes it even worse for us.
Yeah, the 62 and the 9, Mirko, Dortnack and Neil Pearson have changed numbers, so apologies in advance if we call either driver either name.
Oh, it's guaranteed to happen. It threw me out no end when it happened. On track, I was like, wait, is that it? Wait, okay, that's wrong. It is very easy to get confused when drivers switch around those numbers, but they have certain numbers they like to use, and that is the important thing. At the moment, though, Scotty Griffiths doing a good job up the front. He's got Joshua Carroll Walden on his outside, leading that second pack at the moment, and this is hopefully going to be a little bit settled. Obviously, with a fair few damaged cars, we're going to have a slightly smaller pack than we would have expected in this early stages, but it is all about keeping in the right position, just shuffling yourself in the right spot for this race. There's a lot of laps to go here, and you want to keep in the right position, generally up the front, so you can avoid any of those big accidents.
Yeah, they look pretty stable up the front there. It seems like they've not doing anything too crazy. Everyone's realised that a whole bunch of cars have been taken out early, and they don't want to have that happen to them. So they've been pretty calm for the moment. But as we see on the high line out there, the number 10, Douglas, giving Carol Warden a bit of a push.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a huge part of draft racing. I mean, I'm sure a few of you will know how this one works pretty well, but if you're new to the oval racing, if you're new to NASCAR style racing, of course, you want to try and get as close as you can to the car in front of you and make yourself into a big long car effectively, because it will reduce the amount of drag coming off of your car and creates a faster air bubble for you, so it makes all the cars go quicker. And that's why if you see a car falling off the pack, they will just start to plummet. There's a huge difference in the speeds when you're sitting in a pack nose to tail to when you're sitting out there on your own. The other thing it does, of course, is it changes the fuel mileage. So the car up the front will be using a bit more fuel than the cars behind them. Further back you sit in that that trail of cars, the better it is for those fuel numbers, and it can gain you a good 2 to 3 laps of fuel when you're actually sitting in the mid-pack. And of course it comes down to pit stops and hitting those marks, stopping a car from, well, almost 300 odd kilometres an hour down to about 90 for the pit lane is a very tricky feat to do. Very easy to snag a brake, of course, because the brake discs will be as cold as ice when you get there, and those wheels will want to lock up, so getting in pit lane is a masterful art, and then hitting those pit boxes can be even trickier. Got 55 laps remaining here tonight. It's all to play for. Who is going to work out this one correctly? Who is going to get it wrong? We've seen an early mistake cost a few drivers the chance of getting the win tonight. Hopefully, though, they can get back in this race, and it's still really anybody's race, isn't it?
It always is, yeah. Still a lot to go, a lot to play out, and at this stage, anyone, 30 odd cars are still in the running to get a win in this one. Looks like we are having a few retirements. I think obviously Smith has parked the car, Barry Neal, Brenton Henson and Luke Jahira, I believe, might have parked the cars for the night.
Yes, they unfortunately parked up, and Glenn McLeod, their latest one to take it behind the wall. Obviously a lot of damage on those cars. It gets very, very tricky, and it's never fun doing a full race distance with a damaged car.
No, especially on a super speedway, it's pretty demoralising. Once your car's damaged, you'll never have the speed, and if you can't keep up with the pack, you just unless you're racing for points, there's no point circulating.
Very much so. It really is a horrible feeling when you're a few laps off and you just go, oh no, I've got a long night ahead of me and I really don't want to do this. And it's even worse if that car is not handling the way you want it to. Up the front though, it's handling quite well. Griffith's still in the lead at the moment. He's stuck up the front with Joshua Carroll-Walden to his outside. Got Josh Micklemore and Dave Douglas on the second line of track. Darren McKenzie, Jamie Curtis are in the third row, with Neil Pearson and Paul Drady in the fourth. Then we have Phil Bassett and Chris Purnell up there as well. Turning Chris Purnell up in the top 10 tonight. He'll be pretty happy with that and hopes he can stay there for the remainder of the evening.
Yeah, look for Chris just to have a nice quiet night, settle in, and then be there at the end of the points, at the pointy end of the field. And Darren McKenzie as well, making his first Thunder race back in quite a while as well. So good run up there. Fifth spot at the moment, so I expect Darren to be up there the pointy end of the race as well.
Absolutely. A veteran on the ovals, Darren McKenzie, he is very, very good at keeping that car in a good place, and he's going to hope to keep those skills up tonight, and he's doing it at the moment, just sitting third in line on the low line. Paul Drady just in behind him. Quite a few DPR cars up there as well. We've got two in the top 10 at the moment with Pearson and Stevie Williams, so that will help with teammates up there, of course. A little bit early to get the team game playing, but it's always nice to have a teammate around you. It makes you feel a little bit more confident.
Yeah, you're certainly looking to work together with your teammates at the moment and hook up with them, and with an idea of fuel saving between you and getting ready for the end of the race sort of thing, and working out who you can work with. And there's not only just teammates, there's alliances as well, teams that are aligned. So I know the 5 and the 31 will be most likely in a bit of an alliance. And I imagine the 35 and the 10 are in an alliance of convenience because they don't have any other teammates around. So I'm sure they'll be happy to work together. And But yeah, look out for those DPR cars and a couple of those Lucas Oil cars as well. Paul Drady and Bissett, I think it is.
Yeah, that is it. You have the cars that you work together with, and it makes a big difference, of course. And you'll have a few of the lone wolves out there, the privateers, who will be working together, sitting in Discord with each other and chatting away, and just working as a team in their little race. Coming up on Ryan Jones next. He is having a woeful night tonight. Ryan's luck is not coming his way. He's going to sit up high, let the pack go past. But you can see the difference here with a damaged car with no pack to the rest of the draft. Cruising around about 270 at the moment. Pack's cruising around at 300 kilometers per hour. You know, it is such a big closing difference on speeds.
It is, and Ryan unfortunately is through no fault of his own. He's lost the bumper in the on the front and the rear, and the car's just slow. So he's in for a long night. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him end up parking it pretty soon if he can't hold on to the back of this pack now.
So just playing for a few points. Obviously, it's a long season, so getting those points is crucial. But yeah, it's a long old night to go. We're joined up in the booth by Mr. Mark Johansson. Mark, parking the car tonight after a tumultuous first lap of, I believe.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, it wasn't a return to racing that I'd like. And for the new sponsor, you know, Lucas Oil and Pluckus Racecraft. But hey, that's motorsport. That happens.
Indeed, and obviously it was a big incident there, and you were probably caught in the wrong place at the wrong time there, down towards the back of the pack at the start.
Yeah, I just wanted to come back and ease into the racing because it's been a while. You know, with broadcasting and both ANZCAR with you guys commentating and everything, and I thought I'll come back and race this, and thought take it easy and just sit down the back, and yeah, it had unfolded in front of me, and I went to the grass thinking that was the safest way. I was nearly through it, and I got clipped from the right and pushed into the pit lane and got the wall.
That is unfortunate indeed, but your losses are a gain, I guess. We get you up here in the broadcast booth to join us, which is nice. Like, it's a shame to see you out the race, Mark, but hopefully we'll get you back out next week, and hopefully it'll be a bit longer before you have to join us.
Oh, definitely, mate. I'm looking forward to getting back out there next week. So now I've just got to keep my eye on the other two Lucas Oil cars and hope they go well.
Absolutely. Up the front is a little bit of action as Josh Mickelmore has got up to the front. Brad Burley just going down a lap. Great night for Brad in the trucks on Monday night as he got up into a podium position. Just gets a very tight moment coming across the tri-oval there. He clipped the wall and just checked up the back of the pack a little bit, but he is still going okay. No caution flag out. It looks like he's made it through that one. JCW now at the front of the low line. Dave Douglas leading the high charge at the moment. 46 laps remaining here tonight for the Thunder.
Yeah, few guys there tonight, Carl, that didn't make it in, like DD. It's good to see him make the field tonight, and he's having a pretty good run at the moment.
He is indeed, and he's using up all of that want to race to get up in there tonight, and he's having a good run up the top of the field. And you can see a lot of changing going on now as cars are just shuffling, seeing who wants to lead, who wants to be in second, and this is where accidents can happen, of course, as people try and shuffle the cars around. It's very easy to make a mistake as you try and blend a car down to one of the positions you think you've got a gap in, and all of a sudden it closes up very quickly.
Yeah, definitely, and that's the thing too with these cars. Are so different to the Cup cars to drive, and it just happens at a different level from the trucks again too.
Yeah, they all look very similar, and you know, when you look at it from the outside, you sort of go, well, there's not much difference from them, but when you're racing these things, they all perform differently. The truck is a very different animal to the Xfinity. The Xfinity is an extremely distant beast to the Cup car, and of course we have the Cup cars coming up on the weekend. It is the Daytona 500 brought to you on Performance E-Stream on this weekend. We've got the duels coming up on Saturday with the main event on Sunday, so we hope you can join us for that. But tonight we are in for some great Xfinity action, and a lot of these drivers, they don't tend to like the newer Cup cars, so they sort of shuffle back to the Xfinity series because they're a little bit closer to how the old Cup car used to be.
Yeah, definitely. But I think there's going to be some big changes this year with the Cup. I think it may come back a little bit and be a little bit more private-friendly car with the changes that are coming.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how it performs, and we'll see how people go. At the moment, my line's just dropping back on it. Josh Mickelmore in the lead about half line, just not able to connect up with the cars behind him, so losing a little bit of pace over JCW and Darren McKenzie on the low line at the moment. And then just behind there, there's two Lucas Oil cars of Drady and Bissett.
And same thing as Monday night, Carl. The top line seemed to drop off early in the race and came back strong in the second half of the race.
Yeah, it says contact with the 5 and round they go. That is Scott Griffiths getting hit by a lap car. Caution flag is out. Caution number 2 of the races. I think there was a secondary incident of that. Christopher Tolan getting caught up with Scotty Griffiths, and secondary incident with the number 8 there getting spun around. That was Jamie Nankervis trying to catch that slide. He was trying. Unfortunately, had a car just tap in the back of him, and around he goes, and that catches a fair few other drivers out. One of the DPR cars really heavily hit with that one as well.
Got to feel sorry for Jamie. He's not had a good start to the trucks, and it looks like he's not having a good start to his campaign in the two classes at the moment.
I guess the one caveat for Jamie tonight is he's not being launched into the stratosphere, so that's something at least. He's still on terra firma.
Yeah, he definitely got some height there on Monday night.
He did. He's only just got back to the ground, I believe. So the Americans mistook him for a surveillance balloon, I hear. So yeah, he had a rough one for it. But we'll see here with the replay. Just coming through, lap car just catches the ball. That was Chris Patolman, just catches the ball and then bounces him down into Scotty Griffiths. And the accident happens there. And then secondary accident with Jamie Nankervis. He was trying to catch the slide, and unfortunately a few cars behind him did not hit the slow pedal quick enough and just tagged him. It's not an easy thing to do to stop these cars when a wreck's happening. You've got to be so on it to catch it in those seconds. So big shame for them. In pit lane, Bissett has just missed his pit box by a huge amount. He's had to chuck it into reverse. You might get a black flag for that one. That's unfortunate considering he's running so high up the order at the start of this one. That's always a painful thing, having a mistake in pit lane.
Yeah, it definitely is. And by the looks of it, Scotty's gone into the wall very similar to what I did. So he's going to have some engine damage, I'd say. So don't be surprised if he drops right back down and may even go a lap or 2 down here.
Yeah, we may even lose Scotty Griffiths here as he is getting a lot of repairs done. Hopefully there's not too much damage to the cooling in the engine. So we can see this from the number 8, Jamie Nankervis now, and the incident happens in front of him, and he can see it happening here. Car goes around in front of him. He gets tagged as well, starts to spin a little bit for the number 8. He starts fishtailing it heavily, and then a little clip from behind, and that is that. Once the momentum starts to shift, it's like a pendulum clock. You can see the number 8 has got no chance now with that car on the inside. On the outside. If that car wasn't there, he might have just squeezed it through, but around he goes into one of the DPR cars as well. I didn't quite see which one of those it
That
was.
was Stevie Williams, I think.
Unfortunate
yeah, definitely looks like Stevie Williams, Carl.
The curse of the anniversary race is striking Stevie Dub now, at least not for the trucks though. So at least he got his win under his belt for the 400. But yeah, that is a big shame for Stevie Dub. Nowhere to go in that situation.
Just had a quick glance there at Jamie's car. Looks like he may have got away with slight damage and not a lot of damage on the front. So let's hope none of the arrows are damage for him here.
Yeah, he'll be hoping that the front aero is gonna be well, not too hurt for him, because that's when it can really pay off hurt. But it looks like it's just the back that's really damaged. There's a little crinkle on the front, but it's not looking in the worst condition. We're at an odd point of the race now, Mark, because we've got 40 laps remaining here on lap 26. Chances are you're going to be able to make it home on this tank of gas. Just looking at pit stop times, got Darren McKenzie jumping to the front of this pack, stationary for just 9 seconds. I wonder if he's short-fueled it a little bit. If he's confident that that's going to make it to the end, or if he's thinking he might need to come down pit lane again, because a lot of drivers sort of didn't take the full amount of gas by the looks of it. They were only stationary for about 10 odd seconds. So this could be an interesting one for the end of the race. I think they might be thinking they need to stop one more time.
Joe Schultz
definitely.
only stopped for 4.7 seconds. So he maybe definitely got a splash.
Yeah, same as Wade Cheedy, Kobe Jordan as well. So interesting. Some interesting strategies at play here.
Crew chief was telling me we'd get 40 laps out of a tank, but I'll come back to that after the race start, Carl.
Absolutely. It's going to be McKenzie with JCW leading away here. We go back to green flag racing, lap 27 of 66 here for the Daytona round, first round of the ANZCAR Thunder Series. And McKenzie gets a nice start there, just pulls away nicely. And we are hopefully get a nice run for the rest of the race.
Yeah, definitely. Paul's needs to get down in that bottom line. He's up there. I know a few cars have come up there to help him out now, so that's not too bad. But going back to the fuel, I was getting the range was about 40 laps. So if I was still out there in that pit stop, I would have fueled and taken a fresh set of tyres just because the fuel would cover the tyres.
Yeah, that's it. I chucked a full tank in there and risked it a little bit with that little bit of caution still underway. I think you could just about squeak home if you weren't leading the race, of course. If you're leading the race, if you're planning to lead the charge from the front, it might be a bit difficult to make it home to the end anyway. So maybe having that extra pit stop is a wise move, because you're thinking you're not going to make it anyway. So have that in there. There could be another caution, of course, so that gives you the opportunity to pit under a caution. But if we see a long green period here, we could see a surprise winner, somebody that has been saving a little bit of fuel, stretching the tank a little bit, being a bit frugal in the early stages, and they could come out with a victory next to the name.
Yeah, definitely. But you just got to look further back in the pack there. In what is it, about 6th, 7th, and 8th? You've got the SRM boys. So can't count those guys out from where they are sitting right now.
No, absolutely, and they've linked up nicely. You've got Mandy Ray, Lachlan Urquio and Ruben Phelps in that little train of cars. And then I believe just a little bit further back you've got Russell Brackler as well, but he's got a fair bit of damage on there, unfortunately. So he's got a lot of front aero damage, and that's going to affect the car if he can't get somebody sitting in front of him to act as a nice big wind blocker.
Yeah, definitely. I think he got mixed up in that first caution of the race. I do believe I did see an orange car go spinning past him.
Yeah, it was. I think half the field got caught up in that one. Unfortunately, it took a fair few of the cars out of the running, and meant there was a lot of repairs needed, which is never fun to have happen. One of those cars that we saw very heavily damaged was the number 11 of Ryan Jones. But he's now got a front end on his car, so it's looking better than it did before. And he's only one lap down, so he's got back into this race. We were saying earlier, it's going to be hard to win when you get wrecked off the finish line in those situations. It makes the night a lot harder. But the race is not over until that checkered flag drops, of course.
Yeah, definitely. And look, the one big race I've won here, I was a lap down with 10 to go and come back and won a race. So anything's possible at Daytona.
It is. It's a bit of a lottery sometimes, but when that lottery falls in your favour, it is a fantastic feeling. And look, there are a lot of these guys out here that have got great skill on super speedways as well. They absolutely love them. It's their preferred environment. One of those men is Gary Wellman for the Sim Boys. He's got a little bit of damage on the left front, but that car's looking relatively unscathed to some of the rest of the field. And the 45 is going to hope to have a good run. And we know that Wellman is good on super speedways. He's one of those drivers you can never discount.
Yeah, definitely. But looking at the company there, I'd say any one of those top 10 drivers can win. DD, JCW, one of the Mitch cars there. I'm not sure. I think it's Josh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh is there. So then the SRM boys are there. Paul Jackson's there. So throw the rag up and or a coin up and pick a car.
Yeah, exactly. It's put all the drivers on a dartboard, throw the dart, and that's who your pick is for a super speedway. I'd say it's interesting at the moment though, because as I said, those pit stops, it's very, very tight, and going to be interesting to see if a fair few of those front runners need to come down pit lane again. If we run green, it could be an absolute disaster for them.
I think a lot of them may have been preying on another caution, and I mean to say we still got a fair few cars out there, and a back group there that Matt's got his cameras on at the moment. So these guys need to start working together to try and catch that group in front.
Yeah, that pack there being led by Maxi Marshall and Brad Fenway at the moment. These are all pretty much a lap down, I think, this little group here. So they're all battling for the coveted Lucky Dog spot as well. And if you're new to oval racing, the Lucky Dog is the first car a lap down will get the wave around and get their lap back effectively, as long as they don't cause or are involved in a incident that causes that caution flag to come out. As a little bit of a touch there for Chris Tomlin. He just got a little tiny close. Oh, yeah, caution very nearly coming out there. As we get a big moment there between Aidan Schultz and Maxi Marshall, and Aidan Schultz get pinned up in the wall, just manages to save that one. Christopher Finley, big moment across there. We're going to jump back to the replay. So gets very close to each other and contact, and well, it's very lucky that wasn't a bigger accident there. The two cars very much door-on-door contact. That was a very heavy hit between those two, and Aidan Schultz sort of had nowhere to go, gets pinged back towards the back of them. Luckily though, everybody manages to avoid that, and we remain green here. 31 laps remaining of the 66. Those little incidents absolutely make you take a very deep breath, and they can really open your eyes up and wake you up when they happen. So looking back to the front of the pack, it is Darren McKenzie with Josh Whitmore, Josh Carroll-Walton, Dave Douglas, Paul Jackson working his way nicely up the field. Paul Jackson, one of those drivers that you always need to keep a little bit of an eye on. And no purple rims that I can see, so he's being kind tonight to Mr. Mark Johansson. Gary Wellman up in 6th, and we've got Luke Kenny having another nice run up in 7th position with Matty Ray. Never discount Matty Ray working his way up the field. He's already made 27 positions tonight. He's going to hope to make more. The most positions gained is this man, Lachlan Okrio, 28 games tonight. The 42 having a strong run. A bit of damage in the rear, but that is not going to slow him down. The 06 of Ruben Phelps sits in 10th position. So everybody's starting to settle into a sort of single line at the moment. There's a little bit of a run back with Drady and Bissett. They are looking to try and make that high line work. Unfortunately, two cars are never as strong as 10 or 8 cars. They're going to be struggling out there a little bit. and they could struggle to get back on the low line as well. So those cars are pretty much linked nose to tail. They're going to have to put some work in now to try and either get some people to work with them, jump up and give them a hand, or possibly fall to the back of this pack and just link in back to the low line, because sitting up there is not really ideal. It's working just with two cars, get a little bit of help with the side draft, but you're going to be using a bit more fuel than those cars on the low line, and if you need to come in pit lane, well, it becomes very tricky if you're stuck on the high side.
One thing also tonight, Carl, that pit lane entry just seems to be a little bit slipperier than normal. Have you been out there sticking oil down?
Oh, I don't want to comment. Don't comment, no, Mark. Look, I may have had a slight issue with the truck on Monday and left a little bit of oil on the track after that. That's that. But yeah, it's never fun when that happens. It is quite a cool track as well, and that could be making it just a little bit hazardous as you're getting on the brakes, trying to slow that car down and get into pit lane. It makes it very, very difficult, and that pit lane entry as well gets very, very clogged very, very quickly if everybody's coming in at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. It's not that bad. It's only about another extra 5 or 10 metres that you get on and brake a bit earlier just to pull it up a little bit more further.
Yeah, and well, if we get a green flag stop, then we'll probably see some people caught out by that. I wonder. It's very easy to get to have a sort of position where you normally put the brakes on, and if that changes, it can throw you out a little bit, and you can get caught done speeding in the pit lane.
And yeah, no one wants to get a black flag because you definitely go a lap down here, because black flags will need to be served under green flag conditions. So that's the last thing any of these drivers want.
Indeed, as the pack comes up to lap, Aidan Schultz in the 52. He sticks it up on the high line, the preferred line for drivers to get past. If you're wondering, if you're looking at the cars coming through and think, why does the lapped car always stick up on the high line, especially when they're racing too wide? Surely that's dangerous. But that's the preferred position for drivers going down a lap, because it means that the low line doesn't have to move. The high line can just squeeze in a little bit. It's very easy to run 3 wide at Daytona. It's not something you want to do lap after lap, but if it's a lapped car, it will quickly go past, and you can get back to the racing, of course.
Yeah, definitely. But it's not always the low line either, Carl. Depending on most super speedways, it's the high line. But there is 1 or 2 tracks around the season where guys prefer you to go to the low line, and they'll generally jump on the race radio and say, go to the low line. So it's really comes down to good communication between the lap car and the leaders.
Absolutely. There are a few tracks, and some of the sort of mile and a half and shorter, that's where you start getting the low line to be preferred for lapped cars to be sitting, of course, and makes it easier to pass on the mid to the high line. But usually after a few laps of a race, once a few people have gone a lap down, everybody knows the preferred positions, and it gets a little bit more cruisy from there. Of course, when everybody is in their rhythm, which they're starting to get into now, which is nice. Of course, that's always an important part of racing, is getting into the rhythm and getting that correct, because when you're sort of a little bit anxious, when the car feels a little bit more skittish, you can really struggle, and that usually happens when you first get into the race or just after a caution, when everybody's a little bit on end. But that high line's starting to push along a little bit now. They're being led by, just going out to Brad Fenley, getting lapped here. Sorry. Is it Luke Kenny, is it? No. Oh yeah, so it's Luke Kenny up on the high line at the moment. He's leading that high line charge. And he has Paul Drady, Phil Bissett, and Jason Martin with him up there at the moment. So 4 cars working their way up to the front now, and they could be pushing up here to try and get past the leader and try and slot themselves up the front of this field.
It's good to see the Lucas Oils boys back up there.
Yeah, they're having a good run tonight. And well, 2 cars in the top 10. It's always a nice position to be in. And one of them and Mitch Motorsport are the only 2, I think, that have got 2 teammates in the top 10 at the moment. But we do have a big SRM train a little bit further back. Those guys are linked up pretty nicely. They're just sitting behind Chris Purnell. Returning Chris Purnell is having a fairly solid run, currently sitting in 11th place. He's just outside the top 10 in the 920. But with so much of the race still to go, we've still got 22 laps here. That could surely change. And, well, old head, a little bit of race rust maybe. I doubt it though with Chris still. But he's coming back into it, and he could be one of those drivers you've got to watch out for on those closing laps.
Yeah, Chris has had a bit. Running the wet car up there, giving the wall was great. Chris has had some time off. His other half's had a baby, and he took a break from sim racing altogether. But I know in the last couple of weeks he's done the 24-hour at 24-hour at Daytona here. He's also just done the 12-hour with his team last weekend at Bathurst. So he's still got plenty of laps under his belt, even though he's been away for a while.
Absolutely, it's getting the bum in the seat of the simulator. It makes the difference. As we see a few cars just getting a little bit wobbly in the pack there as they just shuffle around position, and wobbles can happen when you get that side draft hitting you. Of course, you get that dirty air, and it just affects the way the car steers and can catch you out quite quickly when that comes along.
Yeah, definitely. And it's been fairly fast paced this green flag stint. So the tyres may just starting to lose their edge. Although it doesn't really hurt tyres here, but after a long green stint, they do tend to get hot and get a little bit squeamish.
Yeah, it's more of degradation, isn't it, than the actual regular degradation. But it's quite cool out there tonight. It's not the hottest temperature we have, and luckily it is night time in Daytona Beach, Florida, which helps things a little bit for the old track temperature. And means the tyres don't quite scream out as much as they would on a 40-degree track.
Yeah, definitely. And look, all these guys up here will be looking for a win to go into the main race on Sunday with a little bit of an edge over everyone else, and have everyone else have a think about what's happening.
Yeah, nothing builds confidence like getting a win in your week, and it really can help you just feel like there's a little bit less pressure on you. You don't quite race as hard, which can be a big bonus sometimes because you can be in the right place at the right time when that happens. Got 19 laps remaining here, and I wonder if everybody can make it home on fuel. I think this is going to be the interesting one for me, is who short-filled their cars. Do they have enough of the go juice, the petrol in the tank, to get to the end of this race, or will they need to come in for a quick splash and dash? Are they banking on another caution, and if that caution doesn't come, are they in trouble?
But the other thing too, Carl, is you don't want an overtime either.
Very true. That green white checker could come out at the wrong time if you are very light on fuel. Of course, green white checker means the race gets extended by a couple of laps, so we get a finish, and but that could really affect how things go. And I think I may have just heard a driver saying they might be coming to pit lane, so that will be interesting if it's the case, as they just passed a couple of lap cars in. The front of this pack is chugging along nicely at the moment. Pretty much pretty much all of the lead lap cars in this group. The only car just in danger now is Stevie Dubb. He's just behind Ryan Jones. He's in 22nd place, but a lot of damage on that car. He is the next car to be lapped as well. Mark Turner, I believe, is the car on the lead lap, so last car on the lead lap, so if a caution does come out, he will be able to get that lucky dog position. But it's going to be if with that one. That could be that could be something that doesn't happen. It's always the way. When you want a caution to happen, it never comes.
Yeah, definitely. I was just looking down the timing. It's good to see Jamie Nankervis back up in 16th place battling with the SRM boys.
Yeah, he was very lucky not to get too much front end damage on that car, and front end damage is the killer on a super speedway. When you've got a clean front, you've got a clean nose, and the engine is still firing on all cylinders. It makes you feel a lot more confident, and when you're sort of battling with some other damaged cars as well, you just keep up that pace nicely.
Yeah, definitely. A little bit of a gap now between Jamie and the group behind him. Not much of a gap, but yeah, that just enough gap to take the stream, like the aero, away from those cars in that second group.
Yeah, you've got to be so careful not to fall off of that all important draft. It is such a crucial thing. It's like water in a desert.
Yeah, I think this lead pack will catch Stevie Dub within the next lap. I just seen him out the corner of my eye there on the other screen that I'm looking at. So it's unlucky for Stevie Dub tonight.
Yeah, he's sort of working with Ryan Jones at the moment, another man that doesn't have the greatest luck, unfortunately. He has had another unlucky night, but he's still keeping the car running and looking to get some solid points for the race tonight, of course. And there's a championship at stake as well. There's championships you've got to race for. You want to try and get every single point you can, because next week you could be hit and lose an engine, or much worse.
The race radio is lighting up at the moment, talking to the back markers that they're coming up on. So be interesting to see here.
Oh, it's a little bit messy, but they're catching up. As Stephen Abbey's got a lot of damage on that car, keeping it on the line is difficult as that side draft comes. All of these cars come thundering by, but he is a veteran on the wheel. He keeps it up there nicely, as Ryan Jones with him, and I think that's Maxi Marshall as well.
Yeah, it definitely is, Carl. But that's broken up that outside line and really hurt them.
As Ryan Jones just darting down, and he's going to have to try and hold that in the corner. He does just about do that. That was a little bit skatey there. But as you say, it's broken up that high line a little bit and caused a few cars to jump in at the low line. Got Josh Micklemore, Dave Douglas and Luke Kenny currently running the high line. On the low line, it's Mackenzie, Joshua Carroll, Walden and Jackson, the top 3 cars in those 2 lines. 12 laps to go here tonight. It is getting towards the taily end. We'll soon find out who took enough fuel and who took a bit of a risk. They may all be fine on fuel, of course. It may just be one of those situations where we've seen something on our timing screen that's wrong, or it could be that they're just getting a little bit better mileage than we expect. There's still some drama to happen tonight. There's still a lot of racing to go.
Look out here, Carl. The SRM boys are coming up to join that top line. So both the lines will be about have roughly the same amount of cars in it now. So that top line may start to get a move on.
They start to think about the end of the race now. They've got the checkered flag, got a sniff of it. It's not quite in sight yet. They've still got a long way to go, but it is it's getting to that stage where you have to start working backwards in the race. You have to start thinking where you want to be in those last couple of laps. So positioning the car now is crucial. Of course, leading at a super speedway is not always the best place to be at the final lap, is it, Mark?
No, definitely not. I think I'd rather be in second or third, but it's going to be interesting with lap cars if they're going to come up on the lap cars in those last 2 laps. That'll have a big outcome on this.
Yeah, lap cars could be a deciding factor. They're coming up on the group with Brad Fenway, Mark Turner, and Scotty Griffiths at the moment. Scotty Griffiths, our pole man, sitting down in 28th, unfortunately, 7 laps down after getting caught up in a early lap incident. But we're coming up on those 3 cars very shortly. You should be just about to see them to the left of your screen. There you go, this beautiful camera shot. Very wide angle lens, but you can see just how quick these cars gain on them as well. These guys are doing 306 kilometers per hour. These lap cars are about 270. There's a huge difference in closing speeds. As you see them just rocket their way past Scotty Griffiths there, and that's the difference in speed that you get. It's a little bit like multi-class racing sometimes, where you're trying to lap a GT car down the straights, and it really is quite intense when you've got those closing speeds.
Definitely, and they've caught those Brad Finley and wasn't sure who that second car was at the right time down that back straight, so it made it nice and easy for him to get past.
Mark Turner, I think the blue car, the blue 299 there. Yeah, they kept up in a nice position. There was no querying about their positions. They just got up there. As just see them skating past on the low line there. Just seeing who that was. Christopher Tomlin there on the low.
Yeah, I think he was coming out of the pit lane.
Yeah, just coming out maybe. Or just sitting down there just to be safe. No, just coming out pit lane. Yeah, Mark, you got that one.
I'll tell you what, Carl, there's a lot of people that have jumped back onto that low line. I don't know if it's because of the lap cars, but the car they're coming up on, and you don't normally see this car down there, Norman Clark.
Yeah, Norman getting caught in that first lap incident, unfortunately, getting a lot of damage on the front of the 09, Mr. Stormin Norman. He has had it's not been a fun night for him tonight, unfortunately. Just getting to the end of this race now, and just clips the wall a little bit there, but keeps it in the right direction. But yeah, it does not look like a fun run for him tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I would say in the next 2 laps, if we're going to see anyone moving for the front, we may even see these guys end up going 3 wide.
Yeah, but well, last lap of Daytona, you've got to pull out all the stops, haven't you? I mean, there's no point coming second. Nobody remembers second place at Daytona.
No, that's right.
Unless it's a spectacular crash where they're on their roof. But I mean, other than that, it's usually the winner that gets all the press.
Yeah, unfortunately, mate, I'm in pit lane.
So we're going to be free of that tonight then. On the highline, it is still Josh Mickelmore, Dave Douglas, Luke Kenny, and Jason Martin at the back of that train now. Jason will be hoping he could probably shuffle up a little bit, try and link up with his teammate Josh Mickelmore and give him a little bit of a hand, or give himself a bit of an opportunity as well. Oh, as Moko Dornbach has a little bit of a moment in the back, as I didn't see who that was, but somebody had a big moment there. They just managed to save it. And that's caused a big check-up. I think
It was the black car, I'm not sure, but he hit the wall fairly heavily.
Yeah, there was a big old check-up there, and I saw Mirko swinging down, and might have been Purnell. He's fallen off the pace a fair bit as well, so that was a big moment. We're down to the final 5 laps now. We are very much getting to the tail end of this race.
Here we go, 3 wide.
Find it.
No, I thought Jade Schultz was going to try and go 3 wide outside, but he may look like pushing down the centre there for a minute.
Well, yeah, it's when you're towards that back, when you're sitting down, he's currently in 14th spot. But when you're in those positions, you just sort of think, is this my opportunity? Can I do this one? Chris Purnell in pit lane, I believe.
Looks like he picked up quite a bit of damage and whatever it was that happened back there, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's tricky to have seen that one. Uh,
There's
I
quite a bit of
wonder.
damage on the right front and the rear of the car, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a painful start to the Xfinity series for him. But it'll still be in a fairly solid sort of 20th odd spot, so still top 20 to get out of tonight. But up the front, the race is starting up. Darren McKenzie on the low line, leading the charge of Joshua Carroll and Paul Jackson just behind him. Highline, it is Joshua, Dave Douglas and Luke Kenny. This is where the absolute insanity of over racing will start. They are very much getting to that point where they can sniff that checkered flag, and they are going to be desperate to get there now. They want to try and get this win.
And we're coming up on a lap car. Sorry, Carl. We're coming up on a lap car here, so it's definitely going to be hold your breath moment.
Yeah, just coming up on Ryan Jones here, and I imagine he's going to sit up to the top, but this is going to cause it to go through wide when it does. And you can see there the black car just in the front there is sitting up on the high line, and hopefully everybody will have spotted that and keep down low. They're just catching them on the exit of the corner, which makes it a little bit easier to pass, as we see Ryan Jones just falling to the back of this group. Everybody gets through cleanly. 2.5 laps remaining here at Daytona for the Wednesday Night Thunder series, and it is getting very, very spicy indeed. It's going to get heated up quickly at the front. Who is going to get this one? Who's going to make the jump early? Who is going to just abide their time? We'll find out. We've got 2 laps remaining. White flag will be seen shortly.
But one good thing too, Carl, is Darren McKenzie in both Josh Mickelmore in good spots, because they've got JCW and DD behind them, and they are great pushers. So whoever can push the hardest, I'd say the car in front of them will end up either probably winning. And talking of that, we're going 3 wide here. Here comes the Lucas Oil boys.
Line starting to get up on the high line as they come around to turns 3 and 4 now. White flag will be shown shortly. Once that white flag is out, we can't get a caution, and it will be racing to the checker. They cross the line, the white flag is shown, and now it's anybody's race. The pushing will start to happen. You've got Josh Mickelmore getting a nice little push from Dave Douglas behind him. Down on the inside is McKenzie with Joshua Carroll Walden behind him. Paul Jackson sitting there. Oh, up into the wall goes Drady. That third line has had disaster strike it. As we see them coming onto the back straight now, that third line has fallen. Second line now starting to get a push. This is where you need to have somebody that's going to help you out across the line. You can see Joshua Carroll just getting ready. He's going to start leaping up to that car, but Dave Douglas is sitting on the back of Mickelmore now as we're coming to the tri-oval. Who is going to take it tonight? It's looking good for McKenzie. It's looking very good for McKenzie as he crosses the line for the win tonight.
Yeah, and typical Daytona, after the finish, we have that big wreck.
That was a great one there. Joshua Carroll Walden doing a great service to Darren McKenzie. And he gets rewarded himself by getting P2 tonight. Josh Mickelmore comes home in 3rd place. Paul Jackson will come home 4th with Dave Douglas 5th. Luke Kenny will come home a strong 6th position with Gary Wellman 7th. 8th for Jason Martin. Matty Ray 9th. And Lachlan Narquio looking to take out the 10th spot. As I think McKenzie is a little bit short on fuel. As he's cruising around now to hopefully do a little bit of a burnout. Hopefully he's got enough gas in the tank to celebrate.
Well, everyone must have been pretty sure on their fuel numbers then, because as we were saying, Carl, we were wondering if anyone was going to have to duck in the pit lane for a splash, and it's no one's had to do it, so that's fairly good.
Yeah, there's been some great maths out there, and I think Darren McKenzie is the winner of the most frugal driver tonight, because he took the shortest amount of time in pit lane, and I think Is he going to have enough fuel to do a burnout here?
No, I don't think he has. I think he's out of fuel.
He's got some fuel left.
Oh,
There we go. He just clutched it round enough to do a little bit of a victory. A victory half donut there.
I just heard over the comms that not even enough fuel to do a decent burnout.
It was tight indeed. A great return to ANZCAR for Darren McKenzie. He's going to be chuffed about that one. Joshua Carroll-Walden doing a great job there in second place, helping McKenzie out, getting that low line a good, strong push. Josh Micklemore comes home in third, trying to lead the high line. Did not quite work out for him. Paul Jackson comes home a very strong fourth place. Dave Douglas will come home in fifth, Luke Kenny sixth, seventh for Gary Wellman, Jason Martin eighth, ninth for Manny Ray, and Lachlan Urquio in 10th. As we flip over the page, it's Ruben Phelps in 11th with Luke Crum in 12th. Kobe Jordan comes home 13th, 14th for Jai Schultz, Wade Sheedy in 15th, 16th for Bissett. Moko Jordan 17th with Paul Drady 18th after getting caught with the wall. Jamie Nakurvis 19th, Sean Doki in 20th position. Chris Purnell comes home 21st with Stevie Dubb in 22nd, Maxi Marshall 23rd with Ryan Jones 24th, Brad Fenley 25th, Norman Clark 26th, Mark Turner 27th, 28th for Scotty Griffith, Christopher Tomlin in 29th position, Aidan Schultz in 30th. Russell Bracker had a rough start to the night, ended up in 31st position. Neil Pearson out early, unfortunately 32nd. Brett Campbell 33rd, 34th for Luke Trahere. Mark Johansson up here in the booth, but still managed to finish 35th. Brenton Henderson 36th, 37th for Barry Neal. Mark Smith 38th, 39th for Glenn McLeod. Raymond Yeager out early in 40th. Great running to the end there, Mark. We saw some beautiful restrictor plate racing there at the end of the race with a nice long green period as well.
Yeah, definitely. It was a great race in the end. It brings out all stops. Nothing is held back in super speedway, especially within that last 5 laps.
Absolutely, nothing was held back at all. It's like graphical glitch there. But great stuff in the race. It was nice to see some fantastic racing going on there and some great drives up the front of the field. What we might do is start out with our third place man for Mitch Motorsport. The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Josh Micklemore. Josh, welcome to the booth. It's been about a year since we last spoke to you, so it's about time we have a chat. Congratulations on P3 tonight.
How are you guys? Yeah, that wasn't too bad a race tonight. It was a lot cleaner than I thought it was going to be at the end. So yeah, it was good fun.
No, absolutely. Nice long green period at the end there after an early kerfuffle, we can say. But you had a strong run up the front of the field tonight. I imagine you were pretty happy to have started right at the front of the pack, though.
Yeah, normally my qualifying's pretty bad around here. I don't know why. It's just foot flat, but I seem to always be mid-pack. But tonight was different. Started off P3 and yeah, we're pushing Scotty for a bit and then wanted to come out and lead a lap for extra point and all that. And then Yellow came out and then, yeah, we're just racing from there. But yeah, it was good fun.
Now, I'm kind of ask everybody about this one. How were you on fuel at the line there?
I had 1.2 laps of fuel left, so I would have been good for another lap.
You had plenty.
I was saving a little bit behind Darren because I was a little bit worried at the start, but then because I wanted to save some because I was hoping I was going to be on the top line like I was, and then hopefully get a decent push at the end. But yeah, that was what I was sort of planning on. But yeah, a little bit short, but still pretty happy with third.
Absolutely, it was a solid run to the end there, and you know, if that green white checker had come out, it sounds like you would have been safe as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it would have been fine probably.
Absolutely, congratulations tonight on a solid P3. Before I let you go, though, a shout out to all the adoring fans and the sponsors.
Yeah, just for Maddie and Sean and everyone that's on the team for ANZCAR this year, bringing it back again and stronger, I believe. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Thanks to you guys and yeah, just everyone racing tonight. It was a good, hard, clean race, and of course the Mitch Motorsport boys as well.
Congratulations tonight, Josh Micklemore, Mitch Motorsport. Great to have you up here in the booth, and I'm sure we'll chat to you again very soon.
Hopefully, yeah. All right, see you guys.
Next up, we will grab up for Atari Autosport the number 35 of Joshua Carroll Walden. JCW, welcome back to the booth. Always a pleasure to speak to you. Congratulations on P2 tonight.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Good to get a podium, second place tonight after coming fairly close to a fantastic result on Monday night. But quite happy with the result actually. When 37, 38 guys took the green flag.
Oh, absolutely. It was a solid run tonight, and well, it's a nice way to start off the season, of course. Daytona always a bit of a lottery, but the lottery came up almost completely in your favour tonight.
Yeah, it did. It did. Yeah, I mean, my whole plan for that last stint, because I knew that everyone was going to be tight on fuel. So I was just gonna sit behind just wait for Darren and Mackenzie to run out of fuel, and then see if I could do something about Micklemore. Then Micklemore jumped up, and then I was like rubbing my hands together. I'm like, holy hell, I'm in the box seat here. This is fantastic. And then, yeah, he managed to just save enough fuel to get it home. So, yeah, like I was also thinking, if he doesn't run out of fuel with like 3 to go, I'll try to get up high. But Double D, Dave Douglas, was just doing too much of a good job pushing Josh for me to get up there. So, yeah, I didn't really have any options.
Oh, well, it almost worked out, but you got a nice reward for being the MVP for the winner tonight, giving that nice push and getting a P2 out of it. It must be, well, it's a nice reward for the effort, I guess.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. And I just really wanted a result after being quite close with about 5 or 6 to go on Monday night. So to get this result in the books, it's really good. And the race, before the duels and the Daytona 500, it's a real good confidence boost that I've run up front in both of the races in Speed Week so far.
Absolutely. P2 tonight, you can only go one better on Sunday, I imagine. So good luck for Sunday, mate. Before I let you go, though, the usual thing of shout out and to love to all those fans and adoring sponsors.
Yep. Shout out to AJG Australia, Fully Ford Limited, Turbo Alpha Japan, and M2 Sim Racing for sponsoring us for 2023. Shout out to my teammates, Toby, Edward, and Daniel. We're gonna have I feel like we're gonna have a really good year this year, and shout out to all the admins, Sean, Matt, you, Carl, and Danny G, and everyone else that puts this series on, and shout out as well to you guys for the broadcast.
Always welcome. Always pleasure when you give us racing like that. Thank you so much, Joshua Carroll, and hopefully we'll catch you back in the booth very, very shortly.
Thank you, guys.
And finally tonight, we will grab up our race winner back to ANZCAR with an absolute bang. It is Darren Mackenzie getting victory here tonight at Daytona. Welcome to the booth, Darren. Congratulations on a fantastic victory.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. I was a bit touch and go for a while there on the fuel.
Yes, we were talking about that a little bit. We noticed your stop time was significantly shorter than everybody else up the front. We saw it was a bit tight on fuel at the end there. You managed a half donut, I see.
There wasn't much of a burnout, but I tried.
You gave it all that was left. And, the amount of fuel you had was perfect because it got you a win here at Daytona.
Yeah, well, I come out of the pits after the yellow and I'm like, oh no, I'm in front. And then I looked at my fuel and it's like, yeah, they're going to let me lead the whole way. But I think it was about 20 to go. I started lifting through the middle of the turns and saved about half a lap of fuel. So just gave me enough to do the parade lap at the end and an attempted burnout.
Absolutely. I imagine it would have been a very hot sweat if that green white checker had come out.
Yeah, I would have been stopping for fuel and to the back of the line.
No, but a great job tonight, and especially hearing you had to fuel save at the front. And anybody who's ever tried pack racing will know that's not an easy feat.
No, I had a good bunch of guys around me, so I sort of, if I didn't lift too much, I knew they'd be backing off through the turns, lifting themselves. So it was about the only place I could save. Otherwise, it was just they're going to run into the back of me. But yeah, it was awesome racing at the front there. I think almost double digits. We went 3 wide passing lapped cars, and no incidents at all as far as I could see.
No, absolutely. It was some great running at the end. A great green flag stint as well. Obviously, coming up to that finish line, you must have been looking at your right mirror and just keeping a little bit of a look-see at what's going on with Josh Micklemore on the outside. When did you start feeling a little bit more confident?
Probably maybe about 3 laps to go. I'm watching what Josh is doing behind me and what the guys are doing on the outside, and I think Josh had it timed perfectly. He gave me the push. He got himself into second as well out of turn 4 there. So yeah, definitely helped having him behind me, knowing what he was doing and when to push.
Absolutely. Timed perfection tonight. Congratulations on a fantastic victory, Darren McKenzie. Before I let you go, though, love and shout out to adoring fans and any sponsors you'd like to say hello to tonight.
Yeah, we've got SkyPoint and Tiona Holiday Parks and Mish's XL Garage. All the guys at Southern Stars team, and yeah, yourselves with the broadcast. Where are we? Performance e-streaming, is it? And the ANZCAR League. Yeah, thank you.
Not a problem. Thank you so much, Darren McKenzie. Congratulations on the win tonight, and I'm hoping this will be the start of another strong year for you. We'll catch you back in the booth very shortly.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Thanks, Darren. Have a good night. Race number 1 of the ANZCAR Thunder Series done and dusted tonight. That was your race winner, Darren McKenzie. Josh Carroll-Walton came home second with Josh Micklemore in third. Start of the championship strong for those drivers, but it is a long way to go. Of course, you can join us back here on Performance eStream. Next time out will be at Fontana Auto Club Speedway. That will be next week, the 22nd of February. But of course, we have more action coming up here on Performance eStreaming soon with the duels for the Cup Series. Yes, Saturday it will be the ANZCAR duel for the Daytona 500, of course, getting those all-important spots sorted out of where they're going to start in the race. That will be, I'm trying to remember the time, that will be, hoping that will pop up in a second.
Are you looking for the times?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the times are. Yeah. I think it's.
Yeah.
I know, but yeah, there's 2 races back to back. Maybe.
I've already forgotten the time.
Yeah.
It's always fun. 22nd, 18th of February is the duels, isn't it?
It's got to be like 7 o'clock, I think, isn't it? It's 7 o'clock.
I think it's our usual time for the duels.
Yeah,
that's right.
But we'll be doing 1 broadcast and 2 races. So broadcast one.
It's a busy weekend.
Duel 1, Duel 2. Yep.
I hope someone's supplying coffee.
Yeah. Oh, so do I. We need it for sure. And then, of course, we have the 500 itself coming up on February the 17th.
19th.
19th, yes.
19th. There we go. Oh, see how with it I am. That's always good on the 19th. So that's going to be an exciting one for sure. Of course, you can catch all the action here on Performance eStream. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. But from tonight's race, Mark, obviously not the night you wanted, but we had some great action out there.
Yeah, look, mate, as I said, it happens. It's motorsport. It's the way the cookie crumbles. But we've had the two appetizer and the entree. I'm now looking forward to the main meal on Saturday and Sunday, because with the 2 races we've had so far this week for ANZCAR, it's going to be a very heated and tough race on Sunday for the 500.
No, absolutely. We hope you can all join us there for that and for the rest of the races this season. Look, a big thank you to Mark Johansson for joining us up here in the booth and helping us out with the commentary. Of course, a big thank you to Mr. Matty Hunter for doing all the hard work, of course, on the broadcasting, getting these beautiful graphics up and doing all the camera work as well. And for myself, Carl Wilkinson with you, we'll wish you a good night and we'll see you again on Saturday.